Hello. Today I am going to do a little introduction for you about the setup for our How Gassy lab that we're going to do about photosynthesis. So first I'd like to introduce you to our probeware because I don't think we've used it before. We have a carbon dioxide sensor, an oxygen sensor, and then we have the first part of our probeware. We have a container and where we're going to do a sealed container with some leaves in here. I put some spinach leaves. You're going to make sure you have one thin layer across the bottom. You don't need to overfill it. You don't really want them on top of each other, and you can just smush them down. For sure, you don't want the probes to be touching them. So the first thing we're going to do is set up our closed container. So we're going to take the lid to the closed container. You'll see it has 2 holes in it. And we're going to click it on, make sure it clicks on super tight. And now we're going to put in our oxygen probe. It goes in one of the holes. You're going to just make sure that it goes in pretty tightly. You want to make sure you have a tight seal, otherwise your data is going to be wrong. And then here is the carbon dioxide probe. There's a little lever on this. You want to make sure it's set to high, okay? And then you're going to put this in. And again, make sure that it's nice and tight. Okay, that's going to need to sit for 5 minutes just to settle. So I'm going to look at my timer, and I'm going to start a timer for 5 minutes. In the meantime, I am going to take my probeware, and there are all sorts of places to plug this in. This actually says channel 1, channel 2, channel 3. So that's where you're going to plug in the probes into channel 1 and channel 2. And then you're going to take the other side and plug it in here. And my computer actually doesn't have a USB port, so I have this dongle where I'm now going to plug it into my computer. So the next video, I will show you how to install the software on your computer. Okay. Hi. So now let's make sure you have the required software on your computer. From Canvas, your teacher will have put a link to the Veneer software, and you should be able to just open that. And what you want to do is you would like to use the native application. So you're going to click on this little down arrow and then download it for either a Mac or a Windows, whichever you have. I'm not going to do that because I already did, but that's what you would do. And then you're going to open it. As long as you're here, when you get to class, you're also going to want to make a folder on your Google Drive that you're going to save all of your data to and share with your lab partners. So How Gassy lab data. And make that folder, and then you can go ahead and click on these little people and share it with your lab partners. Only one person will need to do that for the lab, so wait until you have your lab partners to make sure you're sharing the right data. Okay, I think we are ready to get started. Okay, it's been about 5 minutes, so we are ready to get started. So I'm going to open the software, and I want to make sure I have one graph up here called oxygen gas in percent, and the next one called carbon dioxide in parts per million. I also want to see a data table, so I'm going to click up here in this little squares, and I'm going to click on where it says data table. If for some reason you only see one graph when you start, you can go ahead and tell it to see 2 graphs there too. And I want to say I only want to take one sample every 20 seconds. So the rate is going to be 20 seconds. And I'm going to end collection after 300 seconds, which is 5 minutes. Oh, one sample every 20 seconds. Your total number of samples should be 16. Okay, let's go ahead and rename our data set as long as we're here where it says dataset 1. Click on those 3 dots, rename dataset. Let's call it indoor because I'm going to do it through indoor lighting. Dataset indoor, we can just call it indoor. Okay, and we are ready to collect our data. So I'm going to go ahead and push collect. And you should see the numbers starting to come up here. And I'll see you in 5 minutes. Okay, so now I have my 5 minutes of data. And these lines look really short and way at the bottom. So if I want to get a little, I can zoom to see all of our data. And over here, I can zoom to see all of my data. And so what I want to do is I want to save this data. So I'm going to go up here to where it says untitled and do export. And you're going to export it as a CSV and save your CSV in your Google Drive, wherever you have set up to do that. So go ahead and save it. Save it as indoor or whatever your variable is. Save. Okay. As long as you're here, and to save you some time with your graphs, if you want to go ahead and find your slope, you can go to this little graph thing and say apply curve fit. And if you push apply, you see it will show you the line of best fit and the slope. Remember, for y equals mx plus b, m is your slope. So go ahead and copy this number down, and I would just put it on that CSV file or wherever you would like, because that is information that will go on your data table. Just let's do that one more time. You click on this little button down here where it says graph options. You choose apply curve fit and then push apply, and your slope will show up right there. Okay, I think that is all the data we need in order to start a new data set. What you can do is just delete this data set, rename it with your next variable, like in the dark, and you are ready to collect your next set of data.